Hello, this is exact value review. The first thing you want to do is you want to write down these charts. This is for sines. All students take calculus. The 45, 45, 90 triangle, the 30, 60, 90 triangle, and the unit circle. So we're going to start off. We're going to use QRST for this exact value. So we have the tangent of negative 135 degrees. So the first thing we want to do is we want to draw a picture of where negative 135 degrees would terminate. So this would go here, it's negative 90. It would be somewhere in the third quadrant. The next thing that we want to do is we want to figure out what our reference angle would be and create our triangle. So our reference angle is going to be here. So if this is negative 135, to get to this value, or the next closest x-axis, it would be 45 degrees. So this is going to be 45, 90 triangle. Now, we're going to put 1, and it's going to be negative 1 because it's going down. And this is going to be a negative 1 as well because it's going to the left. The rule is we have radical 2 times our value. Now, some people like to use use all students take calculus or the sign chart to figure out their signs. I like to just create a visual and draw it. So from here, we are going to figure out what tangent of negative 135 is. QRST, that's the quadrant where it terminate, which was 3. Our reference angle, which is 45. Our S is the sines, which we did here with our triangle. So tangent, we know is, well, we have SOHCAHTOA. All right, so tangent would be opposite over adjacent. This is similar to if we had 45 degrees. So from this, we have opposite over adjacent. So we have negative 1 over negative 1, which simplifies to 1. The reason why it's positive is because tangent is always positive in the third quadrant. The next one that we have is secant. So a couple things that I want to write here. We know that secant is the inverse reciprocal function to cosine. So we know cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So therefore secant would be hypotenuse over adjacent. So the first thing we want to do is we want to draw our picture. So this is going to terminate 120 degrees in the second quadrant. We want to create our reference angle. So our reference angle is going to be right here. So it's going to be another 60 degrees. That's going to be our reference angle because 180 minus 120 is 60 degrees. So we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. The side across from 30 is going to be 1. We like to use small values for this. You actually could use any value. Just make sure you use the rules for your special triangles. And because it's going to the left, it's going to be a negative 1. Hypotenuse is going to be 2. It's double the absolute value of the side across from 30. And 60, that's going up. This is going to be radical 3. So really, we are working, 120 is similar to 60 degrees. So then we have secant, which is hypotenuse over adjacent. So our hypotenuse is 2 over the adjacent, which is negative 1. So this simplifies to negative 2. Now to check this, all we're going to do is plug this in. And to plug in secant, we are going to do, because it's the reciprocal of cosine, 1 divided by the cosine of 120 degrees. Make sure you type in 120. We get negative 2, which is what our answer was. You can do the same thing here, except you just do tangent of negative 135. The next part we have is for each value, if 0 is less than theta, which is less than 360 degrees, find to the nearest degree 2 values of theta. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the degree measurement. So I'm going to push, and we're looking for degrees, so we're going to use inverse. So second cosine of negative 0.0523. So we should get 92.99. So when we round this, we would get 93 degrees. So 93 degrees. We have to look here and think, can this be our reference angle? It cannot, because it's greater than 90 degrees. So what we're going to do is we just take our 93 degrees and we figure out how close that is to the next closest x-axis. So 93 would be here. That's 93 degrees. So we're just going to do 180 minus 93. Which is going to give us an 87 degree reference angle. So now I think about cosine. Now cosine, we need it to be negative. So cosine is negative in the second and the third quadrant. So in quadrant 2, this 93 degree angle is actually going to be the answer, because that is the angle with an 87 degree reference angle. Quadrant 3 would be 180 plus 87, because it's 87 degrees past. So here you would have a 267 degree angle. Next we have the sine of theta is equal to 0. This is a special case. And because it's 0, we are going to use our unit circle. I'm just going to redraw this. So I have 1, 0. Negative 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, comma, negative 1. We know that we have cosine sine for each of these. If you forget, it's just alphabetical, just like x and y. And we're looking where sine is 0. Well, sine is 0 at 0 degrees. And this is a quadrantal. And also 180 degrees. Now you might say, well, can I use 360? You cannot, because it says must be less than 360. And I can't use negative 180 because it's just between 0 and 360. So those are our values. Thank you.